Hey guys, it's Coach Gaglione here. This is another edition of the Powerlifting for the People podcast. So this is going to be like a little bit of a different kind of episode and some information. So we have an expert here today, Jacqueline, so she's going to introduce herself in a second. But this talk, we brought her in. We met, I don't know, a couple of weeks, couple of months I don't know at this point. But so I really liked what she had to say. So today we're going to talk about kind of chemical-free living. And basically kind of it's a whole can of worms in itself, like what's a chemical, what does that mean? She's going to go, that sort of thing, so I'm going to let her talk about that a little bit more. But basically, as a trainer, as a coach, being someone that's involved in health and fitness and performance, sometimes we have those clients, those people that we just can't seem to figure out what's going on, why they kind of having low energy levels, they seem to be eating right, they seem to be doing all the things right in the gym, they seem to be putting a lot of effort, but for whatever reason they still having issues, whether it be health, I don't know, like autoimmune conditions or some combination. And as I'm kind of diving into getting involved more in my own health and fitness and like losing weight and trying to promote that at the gym, I thought this would be something that would be very helpful. So even though on the surface level it's maybe not as a direct link to like squatting 900 pounds or something like that, a healthier body is going to have more potential to be a stronger body. It's going to allow you more longevity. So that's always a good thing. So that's why she's here today. So without further ado, so this is Jacqueline, and you want to just give us a little background about yourself before we kind of...
Yeah, sure.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm actually really excited to be here. My name's Jacqueline Kiernan. I am a registered dietitian nutritionist as well as a certified life coach. So I have actually battled a lot of things in my life. My biggest battle recently has been Hashimoto's disease. I know you mentioned autoimmune disease and things like that. So when I was diagnosed, I was finding really no relief in anything else that I did. So I used nutrition as a foundation, and that was providing some relief, but it wasn't really kind of doing everything that I really needed it to do. So I started to look further, and it's funny because no one ever tells you growing up, look at your shampoo, flip over the bottle, look at your soaps, flip over the bottle, see what's in them, because you just trust that it's going to be fine and that everything is going to be okay. So once I started doing that, I ended up being really, really disappointed with what I was finding. I was seeing so many chemicals in there that were being linked to endocrine disruption, which is directly related to the thyroid. For anyone who doesn't know what Hashimoto's is, it's actually a thyroid-related autoimmune disease. So I was so frustrated, I was absolutely devastated, and I decided it was time to ditch and switch. So that's exactly what I did. And I really kind of dove in, and then after doing it, I noticed such a difference in my life. My skin cleared up, I had more energy, I was more excited to just live life, and when you live life with blinders on, you don't realize how amazing it feels to be able to actually take them off. So another thing is I'm actually an aerialist, so I'm not in the powerlifting community, but we do some powerlifting over there too. So it does actually directly correlate to what I do in my...
You still need a lot of strength for that.
And I do it competitively. So anytime I'm competing, I need that nutrition. I need my body to perform at its best. So with an autoimmune disease, you have to be able to really watch everything that's on your skin, within your body. And anything that you put on your skin is within your bloodstream within 20 seconds, and it's in every cell in your body within 20 minutes. So we can't really take anything lightly. So I figured I'd share some fun facts with you. I know I've shared them with you before, and you really enjoyed them. So just a few of them are, the average woman applies 300 chemicals to her body daily, and 80 of those chemicals are actually applied before breakfast. So ladies, if you're thinking your hairspray, you're thinking your makeup, your conditioner, your shampoo, a lot of times perfumes, all of those things a lot of times have those exact chemicals that I was talking about before, those endocrine disruptors, those carcinogens, so many toxicities. And unfortunately, a lot of the health risks of ingredients that are used in our food, not only our personal care products, because as a dietitian, like I said, I really keep food as a foundation. So a lot of those are actually grandfathered in, which is such a disappointment because a lot of companies don't have to tell us what's in their products, and they can kind of hide. And they can hide under things like fragrance or trade secrets. That's my favorite one. If you call a company and ask what's in something, they can say, we can't tell you, it's a trade secret. And if a company is going to tell you that, that's a company I really don't want to buy anything from. So in my opinion, if it's going in my body, on my body, anywhere around me, I want to know what's in it, and I feel like I have a right to, and I feel like everyone does. And then also, just for fun, the substance perchlorate was actually approved for the packaging of dry foods such as cereal, flour, spices, and more. And perchlorate is actually also a chemical found in rocket fuel. So I don't know how many of you grew up eating cereal for breakfast like I did, but that was definitely a shocker. And then this one was actually one of my favorites as well because I was a big candle burner growing up. Yankee Candle, Bath and Body Works, they were my favorite places to go. Amazing smelling candles and all that stuff. But actually, due to the chemicals found in candles, such as fragrances, food dyes, colorings, all those toxic chemicals, burning a candle for 1 hour is actually the equivalent of smoking one cigarette. So that was shocking to me. I have lung cancer, in my family. My grandmother is a survivor of lung cancer, so that spoke volumes to me, and it was at that moment that I really decided it was time for a change. So the first thing I want to suggest everyone look at is your food. So obviously we want to make sure we're eating a lot of fruits and vegetables. That's where a lot of our nutrients are coming from, our vitamins, our minerals, fiber, antioxidants, all that good stuff that we really need, and our electrolytes are in there too. So now we have a lot of foods. I'm sure so many people are confused on what do I buy organic, what do I buy not organic, because there's so much out there and there's so much confusion, so much media, so many people putting things out there that I want to assure you, and people are also saying organic's more expensive. How can I genuinely afford to buy organic all the time? And it's true. It shouldn't have to be a crazy amount of money to be healthy. So the Environmental Working Group does a really, really nice job each year, and they actually put out a list of the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. So the Dirty Dozen is actually a list of the 12 dirtiest foods found with the most pesticides. So if you're somebody, obviously if you can buy everything organic, that's a great step to take, and that even translates to meat too. Buying organic, buying, grass-fed, wild-caught, things like that are things that we really want to look for. Those are the labels we want to put first. But in terms of the Dirty Dozen, these are the fruits and vegetables that were found with the most pesticides. So if you can't buy everything organic, anything on the Dirty Dozen list, you really need to be buying organic. Otherwise, you're taking in so many pesticides, it really becomes more dangerous than helpful. So I'm going to go ahead and list out the Dirty Dozen list for 2019, and unfortunately it's a lot of my favorite foods, so I'll definitely be spending a lot of time buying organic. So we have strawberries, spinach, kale, nectarines, apples, grapes, peaches, cherries, pears, tomatoes, celery, and potatoes. So any of those 12, if they're on there, if it's your favorite food, definitely make sure you're buying it organic. And then they also do a Clean 15 list. So on the opposite end of the spectrum, they're looking at the cleanest 15 foods of the year with the least amount of pesticides. So these are the foods that if you can't necessarily afford, or if it's a struggle to buy everything organic, these are the foods that you want to make sure that, if you can't buy them organic and you still want to get them in, you don't necessarily have to. And those are avocados, sweet corn, pineapples, frozen sweet peas, onions, papayas, eggplants, asparagus, kiwi, cabbage, cantaloupe, broccoli, mushrooms, and honeydew melons. So a lot of those actually have a peel on the outside. This is actually, I think, one of the first years in a long time that I don't see bananas on there too. So I'm a little bit surprised, but good to know as well. So it might be helpful to start buying those organic. So, and if you want a list or more information on the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15, I definitely have some Instagram posts that are coming your way. And there are also some great apps that you can purchase on the App Store. Just type in Dirty Dozen or EWG for Environmental Working Group. So now, since we talked about the food and the nutrition end, let's talk about things that you can do that directly relate to your workout and how you can get those chemicals out while keeping your workout, at its level, or kind of kick it up a notch by getting those chemicals out, boosting your energy, and feeling better. So the first thing I want to talk about is deodorant, and there's so much on the market and so many confusing messages about deodorant. So nobody wants to be the stinky person at the gym, at yoga, in the aerialist community. I totally get that, and I don't want you to be that stinky person. So this is by no means saying don't wear deodorant. I want you to wear deodorant, but you really need to pick a deodorant that is good for your health. So many deodorants are laden with so many harmful chemicals, and some of them are aluminum, parabens, propylene glycol, triclosan, and more. So these ingredients cause endocrine disruptions, skin allergies, neurotoxicities, and a lot of them are also labeled as carcinogens. So definitely something to look out for, something to be mindful for, something to be really, really careful about. So I actually started working with a company called Young Living recently, I would say in about 2017, late 2017, because their products are really just completely chemically free. So there's so many things in there that are good for you, a lot of essential oils, plant-based, products that are just chemical free, and I've noticed a difference in my health. So there are two options to choose from when it comes to deodorant from Young Living. So you have Mountain Mint as well as Meadow Mist. So if you're a male, I always recommend the Mountain Mint. It's a little bit more masculine smelling, so that actually has clove, lemon, peppermint, rosemary, eucalyptus, and white fir essential oils. And then the Meadow Mist is a little bit more feminine for the ladies, has a nice little flowery scent to it. So it contains lemon, geranium, rosemary, coriander, lavender, bergamot, lang lang, and tea tree. So there are definitely some other options out there. I like Fanciful Fox as well if you're looking for another deodorant as well. So there's definitely options out there to kind of get a couple of those deodorants out. And if you haven't flipped over your deodorant, I definitely recommend doing it. See if there's aluminum in there. Look for a lot of the other neurotoxicity chemicals that I mentioned, just like parabens, triclosan, and propylene glycol. So definitely flip those over, start looking. Or if you're confused and unsure of what an ingredient is, pick that ingredient and just type into Google dangers of, and then search that ingredient and see what comes up. And you might be a little bit surprised, hopefully more pleasantly surprised if you're using a good deodorant than negatively surprised. So also we want to keep things clean in the gym, and I know John and I were talking about that before. Nobody wants the gym to smell. You don't want it to be dirty. You don't want it to be germy. So I know a lot of gyms, when you go, have you take a wipe and you're wiping down the equipment that you're using. You're spraying something down. In a yoga studio, after you use the mat, you're spraying it down, you're wiping it. So a lot of cleaners, unfortunately, are also chemical filled, and that's actually really dangerous as well and can definitely directly impact your workout as well as your health. So a lot of things that are in, and these are actually just a few that I'm going to list and kind of go through because we would be here all day. So in a lot of cleaners, we have phthalates, which are possible endocrine disruptors that can change hormone levels and actually have been linked to different birth defects. So they interfere with intellectual development of babies and children, and they may cause preterm labor. So something definitely to look out for if you have any pregnant woman in your life, or just overall, in general. And they've also been associated with allergies, insulin resistance, and diabetes and obesity. So, all things that are on the rise right now. Definitely something to look out for and be mindful. And then we have triclosan, which I also brought up in our deodorants, and it's been associated with higher rates of allergies to both food and skin allergens. So putting it on your skin, smelling it, tasting it, if you have kids around and you're using a cleaner at home or anything like that, kids have a tendency to put things in their mouth if you're cleaning their toys with them. Definitely something to be really mindful of. And if you have to wear your cleaner, or if you have to wear gloves when you're cleaning, that's something to be mindful of too, because as soon as you touch a surface, that cleaner is still going to be on there. So if you're allergic to something, or like we said, triclosan is associated with so many allergies, the second that you touch that surface, you might notice your hand can turn red, you might turn itchy, it might cause some eye irritation, things like that. And then also triclosan has been noticed to decrease estrogen as well as testosterone. So that's directly impacting our hormones, our endocrine system, can alter your mood. It might directly impact your workout, since we need testosterone when we're working out. Ladies, with the estrogen, it may affect your menstrual cycle, a lot of other things to be aware of. And it's also known to pass into blood, urine, and breast milk. So just keep that in mind as well. And then we also have chlorchloroethylene in a lot of our cleaners, and that's a central nervous system depressant, and it's actually known as a class 2 carcinogen. So definitely something to look out for, definitely something that makes me nervous. And unfortunately, that's just kind of the surface and a brief overview of so many things that are in our cleaners. So we also have chlorine, ammonia compounds, sodium hydroxide, and they're all irritating to the skin and to the lungs. So like I said, I know a lot of people that when they walk into a room after it's been heavily cleaned, they feel like they can't breathe, they feel like their eyes start to water, they might get a little bit itchy, maybe some hives even sometimes. So there really are so many harmful effects that can happen to the body when you are using these cleaners. So it's really important to kind of change your focus and focus on chemical-free cleaners. Because like I said, I don't want anyone to be dirty and say, I'm gonna ditch my cleaner and not use anything anymore. So I personally at home use the Thieves Cleaner. It's an amazing cleaner. I use it on everything from my windows to my laundry. And it's actually so safe that I have actually washed some produce in it before. I put, very diluted with my produce in there, my organic produce. And it actually is made with 2 sulfates. Since we described everything that's not in it, I want to tell you what is in it. So it has 2 sulfates that act like surfactants. And these are molecules that are half fatty and half water. So they actually help to lift oils from surfaces, which is really nice, especially if you're cleaning a kitchen. And then it gets them into the solution with water. So I know that we said sulfates are not that great earlier. So one thing to also keep in mind is you want to know where your sulfates are coming from. So they're not all created equally. So the sulfates that are in the Thieves Cleaner are actually derived from coconut oil, sugar, as well as fatty alcohol. So all derived from things that are nice and safe, all derived from good stuff. And then obviously there is a preservative in Thieves Cleaner because realistically we need it to last for a while. And it's made from plant material and it's readily biodegradable. And as an independent distributor with Young Living, I'm very excited to say that we are committed to becoming a zero waste company within the next 5 years, since we really want to be good stewards to the earth and make sure that we're putting back into the earth as we're taking out. So that's really important. So we're really working hard to respect our planet as well as keeping it beautiful. So one of the other parts is, because I love smells, like I said, I loved burning candles in the past, I loved all those good smells, and I still do want things to smell nice, especially in my home, especially in my car. So the Thieves Essential Oil is also in the Thieves Cleaner, which contains cinnamon bark, clove, lemon, rosemary, and eucalyptus. So it's a really nice, refreshing smelling blend as well, and it just smells like a different form of clean. It's not an overpowering smell, it's simple.